One hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, and today we're going to dive into the world of the absurd with the top 10 most absurd Transformers alt modes. Yes, this is similar to some we've done in the past where it's been the most peculiar, it's been the strangest, it's been the most outlandish, but this is the most absurd, and by definition the most absurd would mean the ones where we not only don't know what it is, but do we even call it an alt mode? Is it an anything? Should it even exist? Can it be enough of a conversion that we can actually say it's anything at all? Or does it just turn into a great big nothing? Which means maybe you shouldn't have even done it. Which means, for a Transformer, that alt mode is absolutely absurd. Preposterous. Get it out of here. The top 10 most absurd alt modes as voted on by fans. That's going to be our topic in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey, one hell, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit the notification bell, please. Helps me out a ton. Let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a member. And like I said, this is the most absurd, preposterous alt modes. Now, some of these I agree with, some of these I really don't agree with and think that they're actually pretty darn usable. Very interesting how this played out. This came up when a couple of fans that I was talking to asked me to do this list, and I said, man, it's really similar, if you ask me, to weirdest alt modes. And then they explained that no, in their mind, absurd would be the alt modes that not only do we not know what it is, they're not just weird, but like maybe they shouldn't have even existed. Maybe the engineering just, you know, was such such that, like, I get it, they're supposed to transform, but like this is so much of a nothing that it's absurd that it even exists. It's just preposterous that it even exists. I figured that the results were going to be very similar to the weirdest alt modes, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but I can tell you this, they were certainly surprising. And the very first thing that we have is the honorable mentions, of course. In the honorable mentions, we only have one, and I don't think that this is absurd at all, but it's Perceptor's alt mode being a microscope. And a lot of people said, it's so absurd, it's so weird. Here's the thing. I think I could get behind you if you said Perceptor's tank mode, because that's pretty... It's not a tank. Like, even if you squint and turn your head on the side, let's be realistic, it's not a tank. But I think a microscope is actually very sensible for a Perceptor. The guy's a scientist. He uses his microscope alt mode a lot of times to study things, right? At the, well, microscopic level, right? So I thought that that was a weird vote, but nevertheless, enough fans felt like it was an absurd, preposterous alt mode that it was able to be an honorable mention. It's the only honorable mention. It did not rank. It came close, but it did not rank. What ranked? Who ranked? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Kicking us off at number 10, we have this. It's Broadside, and poor Broadside always gets the raw deal here. People said, look, it's so strange. The guy's a triple changer. He turns into an aircraft carrier that carries planes, but then he also turns into a plane. And none of it works unless you do a bunch of mass shifting, or you accept that this plane is far too large for what a typical plane should be. A lot of people say, whether you're talking about the G1 or the Titan's Return, the plane mode is real rough anyway. It doesn't really look like something that could fly. I guess what you could say is that at the end of the day, trying to match up a robot with an aircraft carrier alt mode and a plane alt mode just makes no sense. It's absurd, it's preposterous. Maybe it could have been a boat and a sub, maybe it could have been like a plane and a shuttle, something that could match up a little better. You look at Sandstorm. Sandstorm is a helicopter and a vehicle. Springer, same sort of thing, a helicopter and a vehicle. So like you could sort of see how it might be a small helicopter, a bigger vehicle. They kind of sort of match up a little bit more. Even for Blitzwing, like plane tank. Yeah, I could see that. Astro Train, a train engine, and a space shuttle. Yeah, maybe. The space shuttle is kind of at a scale, but I don't think any triple changer is as weird of a mix of alt modes as an aircraft carrier and an aircraft. Enough fans felt like it was an absurd combination for a triple changer, for a transformer, that Broadside takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we have this. It's RID Megatron's, or Gigatron, I think was his name in Japan. It's his hand alt mode. He turns into a big hand. And while that is absolutely ludicrous and absurd, I think it could be useful. I mean, if he turns into a big hand and grabs like an Autobot shuttle or something, or a big Autobot, yeah, I see how that could be functional. But it's absolutely preposterous. It's absolutely absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. And because of that, RID Megatron's hand mode takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we go to the live action movies, and this. It's Ejector. He turns into a toaster. We've seen him on lists before for weird and crazy alt modes and stuff. I mean, he's a robot that turns into a toaster. It's a toaster. It makes toast. I don't see any other serviceable reason to have that alt mode. Yeah, Ejector takes the number 8 slot. Number 7 takes us to Siege, or Legacy, and this, it's Soundwave. And it's so strange. People said he's like a space submarine. Some people said, I get that it's like a barge thing, but there's no way that this thing would be able to propel and be like airworthy, let alone space-worthy. Some people said, yeah, but let's forget about that. You can always do the lamppost mode, which he can pull off. But then a lot of people said, yeah, but the lamppost mode is also absurd. The dude turns into a streetlight. It's preposterous. He's supposed to be the master of espionage, and he just turns into a streetlight or a space submarine. It's idiotic. We all know what his alt mode's supposed to be, even if outdated. Dude's supposed to be a cassette player. Both of these other alt modes are idiotic and preposterous, and that's why Soundwave takes the number 7 slot for most absurd alt mode. Speaking of lights, here at number 6 we have this. It's Signal Lancer. I think we all knew the Signal Lancer was probably going to land here. Granted, Signal Lancer has never been released in plastic, but why would he? Because where's the excitement of, oh, that's the Transformer I want, the dude that turns into a stoplight. Like, okay, I guess it would be good for traffic, but if you know the cartoon, where he's situated is like pretty much across the road from like a payphone, which I think is also a Transformer, and like neither of them really serve any purpose or existence. Yeah, I get it, Signal Lancer. Cool robot mode, absolutely ludicrous, absurd alt mode, and it takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark we have this. That's right, one single Siege refractor reflector. And it's not even the ship mode that he turns into. While that's not great, and you really gotta kind of be creative to see it as something that would be able to fly in any way, shape, or form, a lot of people said, let's not forget, reflector is supposed to be a camera made up of 3 lads. But if you only have one of those lads, he turns into an unusable cube. Oh, how exciting, you could turn into a third of a camera. Cameras themselves being pretty outdated since, really, the world has them all now on a phone. I guess there's arguments for that. Yeah, I understand it. At least arguments for only having one reflector and not being able to really pull off the camera mode. One part of the third of the camera that makes up Siege Reflector takes the number 5 slot. Number 4 goes with the live action universe once again, and this. It's The Fallen. I'm using the Studio Series one here, but I mean, it could have been the original. It could be a still from the movie. It's whatever the hell he turns into. Apparently it's supposed to be like a Cybertronian plane, spacecraft, blah, blah, blah nonsense. It's nothing. It's a nothing. You just move parts around and it turns into nothing. Don't tell me this looks like it can fly. We all know it doesn't. The original didn't. In the film, it didn't. I don't even know if he transformed in the film. I really don't remember, and I really don't care. The bottom line is this. I don't worry too much about an alt mode for The Fallen because he was supposed to exist really before there were alt modes anyway. So, giving him anything, I suppose, was a victory for alt modes? That said, if this is the best that you could come up with, was it even worth doing? Maybe you should have just released the robot and call it good. Yes, live action movie The Fallen's alt mode turning into a big flying thing takes the number 4 slot. Now we're into the top 3, and at number 3 we go to IDW and this. It's Rung. We all know Rung became Primus, and literally every single person that voted for Rung said, Rung, ... what the hell is it? Now, I'm saying every single person, but as I think about it, I think there were about 3 or 4 votes that didn't mention it, but pretty much every person followed it up with, what is it? Now, he turns into apparently a cerebral circuit spanner, based on his Matrix Maker alt mode from the comics, but let's be honest. If we're talking about a cerebral circuit scanner, if we're talking about a Matrix Maker, neither of those things are real, neither of those things actually exist. They're definitely Cybertronian, but at the end of the day, Cybertronian is really just an excuse to turn into a great big pile of nothing. And that's exactly what this guy turns into, a great big pile of nothing. Rung takes the number 3 slot. Number 2 goes back to the live action movies. It also goes back to Soundwave with this. It is the Bumblebee movie Soundwave. I get it's supposed to be a hover vehicle thing, but pretty much most people that voted for this said, dude turns into a pancake, he just makes me want to put syrup on him. I don't believe it's an effective hover vehicle. I get that the concept art, the alt mode and stuff there, and the actual film artwork looks a little bit like it could hover, but the way it translated it into plastic just didn't work because it just looks like a flat slab. It's not a tablet, it's not a hover vehicle, it's not a cassette player, it's not a lamppost, it's not even something that looks like it could be spacefaring. It just looks like a pancake. Pass the syrup to put on the Bumblebee Soundwave, because that's how pathetic his alt mode is. Bumblebee Soundwave and his pancake alt mode takes the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy top number 1. And number 1 won by a landslide. It was separated from number 2 by 82 votes. Yep, you heard me, 82 votes. I also know that this is going to be one that's going to trigger a lot of people, even though I completely agree with it. Number 1 for most absurd alt mode is this. G1 Megatron's Walther P38 alt mode. It just doesn't work. It never did. That's why after 3 years and the laws changing, they trashed it, and he's never been this ever since. He's been planes, he's been hands, he's been dragons, he's been dinosaurs, he's been shoes, he's been tablets, I think, he's been a video game console, he's been, of course, tank, he's been everything except going back to a Walther P38. And those that voted for this said, look, in fiction, in the show, it was absurd because he would transform and really needed to be wielded by someone. Usually his mortal enemy, Optimus Prime, or his second in command who he absolutely didn't trust. Why would you let him hold you? Also, they said the mass shifting was to such a great degree, having to shrink down from a 20 or 22 or whatever it is foot robot down into a pistol, that it makes no sense. And even when it shrunk down to the pistol, it still wouldn't be a robot in disguise because it wasn't shrunk down small enough to be wielded by humans. It was only a human firearm shrunk down small enough to be wielded by other robots that aren't from Earth. Whatever his Cybertronian, a lot of people said whatever his Cybertronian mode was before coming to Earth, bro should have just stuck with that. I get it and I agree. They said if we're talking about the plastic, if we're talking about the G1 toy release, it too was absurd because once you would turn it into the Walther P38, it could not interact with any of your Transformers. It scaled with nothing, it interacted with nothing, and once you transformed it, it still couldn't even be wielded by any of the other Decepticons. It was useless in plastic, and it was foolish on the show. I can't argue it. I 100% agree with it. If you don't, I feel for you. But I think the voters absolutely nailed number 1. Because Megatron, G1 Megatron, takes the number 1 slot for most absurd, preposterous, ludicrous alt mode of all Transformers. And that's it, guys. 10 down to 1 once again. And other ones that had votes include, oh gosh, what else do we have here? DevCon, whose alt mode is very strange as well. King Toots, which I'm pretty sure is a bot. Earthrise Quintesson Judge. we saw what that turns into. It's like a little base thing and has a little jail. Like, again, a nothing. Dark of the Moon wheelie. I don't know why that's so absurd. He turns into an RC vehicle, but okay. Ballpoint, who I'm guessing turns into a pen. I've never heard of Ballpoint. Onyx Prime, the six-legged winged animal thing. I get that it's absurd, but I also think it's beautiful because it has little bits of all kinds of different animals in it, but it is absurd, no doubt about it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Gunrunner from G1, yes, that was terrible. Shoe Optimus Prime, RID Bruticus, Revenge of the Fallen, Jetfire's father, who turned into a wheel. Speaking of wheels, Scrounge, who turns into a wheel. Galvatron, whatever that weird space tank thing is. Onyx Prime's Titan Master from Titan's Return. Legacy Skullgrin, although he turns into a tank. I don't know why he's on there, but whatever. Sound Barrier, and I get it. He's a piece of road. He's just a piece of board, a plank. However, I do think he can have a purpose if he lies down across like a chasm or a space where you need a bridge. If he serves as a bridge, I guess he could be functional. Kaon, who turns into an electric chair. What is this? Oh, Siege Ultra Magnus? He's a car carrier. I'm not really sure why that one would be there, but okay. Someone voted for the SS-86 Megatron tank. They were the only vote for that one. Titan's Return, Rumble, saying that his tablet mode is just, it's not like a tablet. It's too thick to be a tablet. It's too oddly shaped to be a tablet. And they said it's also not a convincing tank mode, though I find it to be quite a convincing tank mode. Studio Series. Is that Studio Series? Oh, yes, Studio Series Satellite Soundwave from Dark of the Moon, was it? I think it was Dark of the Moon. No, Revenge of the Fallen. He was a satellite. Revenge of the Fallen, he was a satellite. Botanica, because what's a plant going to do to you? Though I'd love to have a Botanica. I feel like the new Quintus could give us a Botanica. Scrounge I mentioned. Valvatron, that turns into a bottle of motor oil. Actually, he doesn't turn into anything, but he would be a bottle of motor oil. Teletran 1 toilet. I'm guessing this is a third-party thing that turns into a toilet. Either half, skids or mud flap, that make the front or the back of the ice cream truck, because without the other, it's not even a full vehicle and it cannot work. A lot of the same sort of justification as we had with Reflector, for example, right? Beast Wars Injector, poor old Injector. That Fusor always gets on these lists. Action Master Windmill, Mainframe, who turns into a computer. Blot, a lot of people still don't know what that is. Apparently he's an ogre or a troll. Transketo, Gaia Unicron, though a lot of people say that it's a mountain or a volcano. In essence, it's like Unicron's face with a bunch of details around it. Anything else here? Unicron, being a whole planet, you're never going to get a figure that's going to scale. It's impossible. Dude turns into a planet. When you turn him into a planet, like, yay, now you have a circle that does nothing, I guess? Them and more had votes. What a wild round of voting. What a wild, unpredictable list that surprised me a lot and probably surprised you a lot. I do think that in a lot of ways the voters nailed it, but they didn't nail everything. And you know what? That's part of the fun of it, isn't it? Seeing where things go based on what the masses say. I don't know where it's going to go, and you don't know where it's going to go, and it's fun to find out together. Anyway, I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time, and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. And don't forget, man, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.